Welcome to yet another insightful episode of Mpumalanga Runners podcast. My name is still Silailo Jacqueline, aka Mrs. K. You can call me Gijimas Doodler Movement. Listen, today I come here with a book of knowledge. This person is a legend in the making because he's still making legendary things. Aangename kennis.
Aangename kennis, Lai. Dis 'n voorreg om jou te kan ontmoet.
Ek is baie bly dat jy is hierso. Meneer Peter Smith.
Ngiyabonga wena.
You see, 11 official languages. Next time, I'll be very fluent. Listen, Mr. Peter Smith, let's just get into business. Please tell me, who is Peter Smith?
That's a difficult question. Okay, I came to Nelspruit in 1978 from RAU. I came down to the Lowveld to start teaching at Nelspruit High School. But coming down to the Lowveld, I realized there's no athletics because where I came from, I was a walker, not a runner. So arriving in Nelspruit, all of a sudden, no walking anymore. So I had to start running. Running had actually just started at that stage. We had only one big race or two big races in Nelspruit. It was the old Jock starting in Barberton and finishing in Cape Maiden, a 54 kilometer. And then we also had the old regional Lowveld marathon, which started in Barberton at the town hall and finished at the old showgrounds, which was a 48 kilometer. And those were the two most important races. So I had no other option than to start running and try and do a 48 kilometer marathon coming from walking. But that's where my love relationship with running started, Sly. And actually I fell in love with running, and it was so exciting because what I've also listened to your previous interview, everything was a first at that stage. There was no Nelspruit Marathon Club. The only club in the Lowveld at that stage was Barberton Gijimas.
Oh!
That was the only club, and they were hosting the Jock and the Rapportryers in Afrikaans. The Rapportryers, they were hosting the Lowveld Marathon, which was 48 kilometers at that stage. So after doing my first Lowveld Marathon, 48 kilometers, I decided that we need to form another club or form an additional club. So in March 1979, Nelspruit Marathon Club was founded, and we started this new club, and that was to accommodate the runners from Nelspruit, because most of us were then running for Barberton Gijimas.
Oh.
So from there on, then I was the first chairman of the club, and we started getting people to start running. I can say to you, I just want to share with you, we, in 1980 about, they started with this issue of fun runs.
Okay.
There was no clear distance at that stage, you just ran a fun run. So our first fun run started at the turn-off to the old airport.
Okay, yeah.
And we finished at the town hall, which today is Promenade Hotel, which used to be the town hall of Nelspruit.
And that was a fun run?
That was a fun run. It was actually 7.4 kilometers in total. But I remember clearly people arriving there. I don't know, Sly, how young or how old you are, but they were arriving there in safari suits with grasshopper shoes, long socks. Ladies were arriving there with dresses on. But yes, so we had our first fun run, starting there and finishing at the town hall. It was on a Saturday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And from there on, running took off. Sabi Shufflers was found. They started the Sabi Shufflers race. Then Legogort came into the picture and Gondwana came into the picture. And Sly, I don't want to elaborate, but I just want to share with you, there were some iconic races at that stage, in those years, that we just said you can't miss it. And I want to mention a few. We had the Lowveld Marathon, which was 48 kilometers. We had Jock of the Bushveld, which was 54 kilometers. And then Gondwana came up with this idea of transporting the athletes up into the mountain behind the factory where it is today. You're not allowed to drive there. They would drive us up into the mountain onto the same level as where you turn off to Leidenburg. drop us off, and then we would run back 21 kilometers back down. It was all the way downhill, and I can tell you nobody missed that race because it was downhill, and
it sounds like fun.
It was fun all over. Then Sabi Shufflers, they started the Sabi Shufflers run, which was a 32 going up into the mountain where Gondwana was coming down. Sabi Shufflers took us up into the mountain, into the forestry. And it was beautiful. We were running next to all the waterfalls.
Nice.
Most of the time it was raining. We used to go 12 kilometers up on the tar road to Leidenburg and then turn off all the way down back to Sabi. And if I may, I would love to just mention one race that's not been done anymore, it's not existing, and that was the Kaftan. I don't know if you know about the Kaftan.
It was before my time.
That's before your time. Thank you. Now you're showing my age to the people. The Kaftan was a race at 21 kilometers that started in Komatipoort. And you ran out on a road, the one that we used on Saturday for the border to border. You ran towards Mananga border for 10 kilometers. Then you turned left into the Lebombo Mountains. And there was a 4-kilometer stretch of cement, a road cement. And you had to go up this mountain, not even 4x4s could actually go up. It was used by the military to check the border. So every 500 meters along this road, the cement road, they had somebody standing there with a rubber band. And if you could manage to run from point A to point B, they would issue you with a rubber band, you put it around your arm, and then you move on to the next one. Should you stop running and you start walking, they don't issue you with a rubber band. So eventually when you finished the race, you had to have 5 rubber bands to get a medal and to get a t-shirt, because they said that was Hell Hill. They called it Hell Hill. And that was another challenge that we never missed. We just, you had to go and do the Kaftan to say, well, I got my 5 rubber bands. But yes, okay, that's in short my love for running, and it's just the same as the Bellas chairman said to you previously. There was so much excitement because running then just took off. I mean, we went to Comrades in 1981 and there was only 600 runners in Comrades, and today we've got 24,000. So yes, those were exciting times, and I'm just glad that I've been fortunate to be part of it, to see the growth of running in the Lowveld, to see new clubs emerging, Bellas, City of Mbombela. We only had, as I say, Legogort, Underberg, Nelspruit Marathon Club, Barberton Gijimas, which now doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, that's my story.
Well, I did mention insightful episode. Listen, in that introduction, we learned about how running started in the Lowveld. Listen, 1978, I was still not even in liquid formation. So now, Meneer Peter Smith, you run and then you fall in love with it so much that you decide, I'm going to be an official, I'm going to be a referee, and I'm going to be a coach. Take us through the journey.
So what happened in 24, I was involved in an accident which followed that I couldn't run anymore. That was, to me, it was very traumatic. I started cycling, but you don't get the excitement. You don't get the vibe from cycling which you get from running. Because cycling, you go, it's a speed thing. Running, you're among people. But anyway, so I had to make a decision. Do I commit myself to cycling, which I tried to do for about 3 or 4 years. And then I said, no, my love is with running or for running. And the only way to stay involved with running and runners was to become a referee. So I did the normal exams, and all the exams that you had to do, and the certificates, got the certificates, done it. So yeah, now I'm a referee, and I know most of the people know I try to be at every race, just to keep in touch, just to see. And if I can mention, let's look at Nomvula. You look at Nomvula, she used to do 10 kilometers. And you see this young lady progressing to 21, and you see her progressing to a 42 5 years later, running as a novice, and she runs a sub-3, which is unbelievable. But for me, the excitement of being on the road on that day, being a referee, being at the front and seeing how this young lady is just improving and developing. And then you go and you look at the back runners like Slay,
me, yes.
and you see, but she's not running at the back anymore. She's even running maybe second last now. But anyway, so yes, that's why I became a referee, to stay in touch, to be involved. And the other thing about being a referee, when I was running, I had the privilege of running with the front guys, the TV runners. Now all of a sudden you're at the back and you pick up that vibe. And to pick up the vibe of the water points. Remember, in my time, there were no water points.
Okay.
You had a helper, a supporter that provided. So to experience the vibes, like at Mkonjwa, what she said, it might be the most difficult race, but the water points there and the people that's manning it, and the vibe and the music and the dance and the way they dress, then you say, I'm thankful for the privilege to be a referee. So yes, that's how I became a referee.
All right, you became a referee now. Now we call you Coach Peter.
That's by accident. That's really by accident. In 1990, a small club was formed. And when I'm going to mention this club, I know nobody will remember the club. They won't even know what I'm talking about. The club was called Msoli Marathon Club. And your captain, Patrick Mtimane, at that stage was a little guy of about 12 years old. He remembers clearly because he was involved with this club. I think his family ran for the club. Anyway, this club, Msoli Marathon Club, had 13 members. And this club was right where Mkonjwa start.
Oh.
At the bottom, in the valley.
Mm-hmm.
You turn, when you start with Mkonjwa, about 3 kilometers, you turn left down into the valley. And this little town, it's a mining town, was down in the valley, 120 families, small town. Mm-hmm. And so I was working there in the mine. Coming from Nelspruit Marathon Club, I missed my running. So I started this club. Now, how did I become a coach? These 13 guys, I took them out every single day with an old bakkie. They would get onto the back of the bakkie, only gravel roads. And I would go out and they would do from 16 kilometers to 32 kilometers on an afternoon. And that was full speed. That was just going for it. And I realized, but I'm enjoying this. I wasn't running anymore at this stage. I was just jogging. But to go out with them and see the excitement when they finish the training. You know, they're tired and they're sweating.
Yeah.
But you see that excitement and they're checking the time. It wasn't watches like these, it was still the old round watches. But I've been running faster. I was taking the water out for them. We would stop every 3 k's. As I say, it was gravel roads. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Anyway, 1995, this small club with only 13 members went down to 2 oceans. And Danny Shongwe, which a lot of people will remember, he was a master runner at that stage. First time ever for those guys getting to an airplane. That was another experience which we can talk about for a whole hour. The way they've never been in an aeroplane, now they're flying down to Cape Town. Anyway, arriving at 2 oceans, I'm not sure, I can't remember correctly, but I think at that stage Randburg Harriers had been the team taking the team prizes for 14 years. They've been winning the team prize. And this little club arrived at 2 oceans, and I'll never forget. They took 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 8th gold, top 10. They took the team prize. They took the veteran team prize. They took the first veteran team, I was the first veteran, and they took the first master. And that record, the time they ran on that day, remained for another 12 years before any team, and that was when Nedbank and Mr. Price and those teams started arriving. They kept the record time as a team for 12 years. And then I realized, but I enjoyed the coaching. So when I moved back to Nelspruit and I couldn't run anymore, I became a referee. And then by chance, I started coaching. At the moment, like every afternoon, I'm at the stadium at 5 o'clock. This afternoon I had 34 little kids from 4 years old to 14 years old. They come every afternoon at 5 o'clock. It's 1 kilometer around the stadium. They run around the stadium, they get a sweet or they get a small packet of chips. And when they've attended 5 runs, they get a bag of food. And I can't tell you how much joy me as a coach am experiencing if I could take these cameras there to see those eyes, to see the excitement, to see the thank yous, to see the bare feet, to see all the sandals lying there. It's just heartwarming and thankful for myself to say, I love it. I love to see these kids. There's a young girl, she's 12 years old. Slime, I'll keep on talking if you don't stop me. She's 12 years old.
It.
She came the first evening. She ran 7 minutes and 12 seconds for this 1 kilometer. This afternoon, she ran 4 minutes and 2 seconds. That same one.
My lungs will be outside if I attempted the 7 kilometers. Listen, when I still mention again, insightful is really insightful. My face keeps on lighting up because when Coach Peter talks about this journey of his, he lights up. He lights up. By the time we're done here, he'll be a globe because that's how much you can see the passion in his eyes. Let's talk your time trials. Just before we close, time trials. You do time trials. Who's invited? When is it? And what is the?
Sly, thank you very much for that. It's been mentioned, I think we are too much focused on clubs, except with all respect, Bellas opened, they were the first club to open their long runs and everything. So I started the open time trial. It's not focused on any club. It's open for anyone. People that start to run, people that start walking. So every second Tuesday, we've got a time trial opposite the Halls, Gateway. And we've got walkers. I've got little boys of 2 years old. I've got a little girl, a mom is a runner, Simone Widendal. She's 4 years old. She's running because it's 1 lap of 2.3 kilometer, or you do 2 laps of 4.6. And I hand out medals. And Sly, these medals come from you guys. All the runners, they bring their old medals to me. And all the kids wants to have is that medal around the neck. So you stand and you hand it out and so people come. I've got people that in their late 70s coming to run because we take time. We've got a website. They can go and check their times. Yeah, there's still some challenge because I challenge them to be better, to run a PB. And we indicate Folavi has run there. Abednico has been there. Nomvula's often there, she's running. I think she's the fastest lady at the moment. But it's open to anybody. You don't need to belong to a club. And we are sponsored with a certain amount of money monthly. So every month we've got a challenge, like saying, okay, the first 5 partners finishing in the best time. Or we'd say the club with the most people running. And I know Bellas 2 years ago had the most people there. The men and Universe had the most ladies or something. But yeah, the time trial, it's another thing, it just came, just happened. And it's growing. 2 weeks ago, we had close to 102 people attending there. And one evening we had 146 people attending. It's like a race.
Oh, wow.
So,
every second Tuesday of
every
the
second
month, so
Tuesday.
it means 2 Tuesdays in a month?
Sometimes 3,
Sometimes
depending
on the thing. I am coming.
You're welcome.
The next one.
It's next Tuesday. It's next Tuesday.
No,
So
you said Nomvula's the fastest. You haven't seen me run
I
fast.
hope this is on TV. It's recorded now that we know. I'll see you there.
You haven't seen me run. And you mentioned the everyday 5 o'clock with the kids, the stadium lab. I think I'll speak to my production team. Maybe we'll make a 10 some other time just to see this thing that you do. Meneer Coach, I'm saying Meneer because you were a teacher, isn't it? Thank you. Meneer Coach Peter Smith. Baya Danki. Hey, I wanted to flow, but hey, the flow is gone. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence. And we love you, we appreciate you. And it's not every day to get such love from a gentleman like you. Are you okay? Numbers? Are you?
I'm not available. Sly, baie dankie. Thanks for the privilege. Dankie vir die voorreg. Ek waardeer dit. Dankie. And thanks for the way that you guys are promoting running. I think that's a beautiful initiative and I hope this keep on going. Get the clubs, get the runner. Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, viewers. Please subscribe, www.youtube.com. We are Mpumalanga Runners Podcast. After today, after this episode, you would want to join running. You would want to keep on watching this episode because very insightful, very, it's touching, it's beautiful. I am still Sly Jacqueline. Sly, as you heard from Coach Peter, is my other name. Listen, I've got many names. Gijimas Movement. Love you.